Well, certain people, I hope you're all well. First things first, this opinion is the opinion from a complete stranger online. You should always be responsible when competing in the markets. So, on the 8th of March, Zhang is going to be fighting Joseph Parker. This is a very intriguing fight. And when you're looking at the odds, you will see that Zhang is a slight favourite. On Paddy Power, he is 5-2-4, and Joseph Parker being 15-8 against. So, Zhang being 5-2 on favourite, Joseph Parker being 15-8 against, slight underdog. Now let's talk about this. How can we profit from this situation? Joseph Parker has just come off a big win against Deontay Wilder. A huge win. But Joseph Parker in that fight, he didn't win. It's very interesting. He won, he didn't dominate, but he did dominate. He dominated the fight by nicking every round. That's basically what he did. Very, very, very intriguing. You don't see that often. He nicked every round, but clearly nicked it. So he clearly nicked every round and won the fight in dominant fashion by nicking every round. You don't see that often in boxing. He didn't, apart from I think the 10th round when he rocked Deontay Wilder, he didn't. There wasn't a round where you could say Joseph Parker won that by a landslide. No, he went in there and did the true definition of doing a job. Now, if you look at Zhilei Zhang really was in the wilderness. No one expected anything of Zhilei Zhang. Zhilei Zhang's, these fighters both have two strange stories. Zhilei Zhang came into light with a loss. No one expected anything of Zhilei Zhang. Zhilei Zhang, I believe, got put on the floor on his pro debut. Zhilei Zhang struggled terribly against Jerry Forrest. Zhilei Zhang was really expected not to do anything. Zhilei Zhang was looking extremely unspectacular. I remember watching him against that tough journeyman who Povetkin fought, what's his name, Serenko fought, Rudenko. I remember watching Zhilei Zhang really being pedestrian against Rudenko. And I remember watching that fight and thinking to myself, this guy is not going to reach the upper echelons of the heavyweight division. But that will show you never to make assumptions in boxing. And I made an assumption about Zhilei Zhang. And I also made an assumption with Joseph Parker when Joseph Parker lost to Joe Joyce. And that is why we should never assume anything in boxing. Now, with regards to this bout, you really need to look at the styles and the methods of victory. Do you see Joseph Parker stopping Zhilei Zhang? Because Joseph Parker does not have elite punching power. He punches hard enough, but whenever Joseph Parker steps up, the knockouts decrease. So when we're looking at methods of victory, we need to look at the fact that whenever Joseph Parker steps up, the knockouts seem to dry up. So is Joseph Parker to win by KO part of our portfolio as gamblers? I would argue no. And Zhilei Zhang, on the other hand, what is Zhilei Zhang known for? Zhilei Zhang, the big bang, is known for being a big banger. He gets guys out of it. So Zhilei Zhang stopped the granite chin of Joe Joyce. Now, whether you think Joe Joyce has a granite chin or not is subjective, but I would say he has a solid chin. Okay? So, Joe Joyce got stopped twice by Zhilei Zhang. And the second time he got stopped by Zhilei Zhang, it was legitimate stoppage. So, Zhilei Zhang, we all know he can punch. Is Zhilei Zhang going to stop Joseph Parker? I believe that's possible, and I believe that is part of our portfolio. That needs to be considered. Now, can Zhang win on points? Zhang is known for many things, but his gas tank is not one of them. Zhang, I remember Zhang, he used to fight in the 250s. Zhang these days is in the 270s. I believe he weighed 280 against Joe Joyce. Correct me if I'm wrong there. Zhang is a big, big man. And Zhang, I don't expect that to change. I believe the reason he weighs as much as he does is because when he fought Jerry Forrest, he really ran out of gas and he looked drained and he looked like he was ready to be stopped, and apparently there was an issue with hydration in that fight. So since then, Zhang has put on about 20 to 30 pounds, and I believe that's where he's going to stay. Now, that's good for punching power sometimes, but is it good for stamina? Of course it's not. Yes, he's going to have more energy, but is he going to... Excuse me. Excuse me there for a moment. Is Zhang going to be outboxing the quick-handed Joseph Parker over 12 rounds and win a unanimous decision? Or even a split decision, or a majority decision? I don't think so. Because Zhang has got real slow feet. Zhang is actually more about quality over quantity. So I don't see this fight being a fight where Zhang can outbox Joseph Parker for 12 rounds. So we've counted out Zhang on points. I don't think that can be part of our portfolio. And I don't think Parker by stoppage can be part of our portfolio. But what can be part of our portfolio is Zhang by knockout. And what I think can be part of our portfolio is Joseph Parker on points. So now we need to weigh up, what is the more likely outcome? Is it going to be the Big Bang doing what he does best, what he did to the granite chin of Joe Joyce, what he did to a lot of his previous opponents? You know, he hurt Hrgovic in there. Is he going to go in there and do that against Joseph Parker? Or is Joseph Parker going to get on his bike and try and stay out of the way of Zhang? So then I see this fight being a case of the cat and the mouse. I see Zhang center ring, planting his feet, looking for the quality punches. I see Joseph Parker on the peripheral. I see Joseph Parker circling. I see Joseph Parker in and out, ambushing. And we need to work out which one is going to come out on top. Zhang is in his 40s, but I think his style suits an older man. Zhang is crafty as well. Joseph Parker is athletic. And a lot of this fight, don't ever forget that a lot of this fight depends on the weight of Joseph Parker. When Joseph Parker is in the 230s or 240s, he's snappy, he's quick, and he can move his feet a bit. When Joseph Parker is 250s or the high 240s, he can't do that and he runs out of gas. Joseph Parker needs to come in light and not run out of gas, because the minute Joseph Parker is a stationary target and those big left hands start landing, Joseph Parker's in trouble. The reason Joseph Parker against Deontay Wilder is not as relevant as people might imagine in this fight is because Deontay Wilder does not possess the technical skill or the craftiness or the ring generalship of Zhang. Also, these two have a common opponent. Let's not forget that. These two have a common opponent in Joe Joyce. Now, Joseph Parker got stopped by Joe Joyce, but that doesn't mean, Joseph Parker got stopped by Joe Joyce, Zhang stopped Joe Joyce. But boxing is styles make fights. So, in my opinion, the way we got to look at this fight to round off is that you have the older man who's going to be centre ring. He only knows how to win one way, and that is to land that straight left hand. We have the Southpaw Orthodox battle, the lead hand control. I don't think lead hand control is going to play a massive part in this fight because I don't think Joseph Parker is going to stick around in range to try and win that jostling match. So I think this fight is going to be a case of Zhilei Zhang center ring, Joseph Parker on the peripheral outside of the ring, ambushing in bursts, and he's going to get out, or he will hold if he can't see an exit. Then I see it being a case of, can Joseph Parker do that enough? I don't see a jab in this fight being a potent weapon for either man. One, because of the orthodox southpaw element. Most of the time, the jab output goes down, especially for the orthodox, in the southpaw orthodox element. Also, I don't see, so what I see is Zhilei Zhang planted center ring, stalking. I see Joseph Parker on the peripheral. I see Joseph Parker trying to ambush. I see Zhilei Zhang trying to land that straight left hand, or he also has a very good southpaw right hook. And Joseph Parker needs to be careful, because Zhilei Zhang, he will follow through with that southpaw right hook after the left hand. So, as gamblers, we need to look at a possibility. We need to look at Zhilei Zhang to win the fight by stoppage. I don't think he can win on points. We need to look at Zhilei Zhang winning the fight by stoppage, and we want to hedge the play with Joseph Parker outright to win the fight. And the reason I say outright and not on points is because although I don't think Joseph Parker will necessarily have the power that Zhilei Zhang has seen before, I believe that Zhilei Zhang, when I'm hedging the play with Parker to outright win the fight, I'm balancing my odds out. I'm making it safer, because if Parker does win by stoppage, which is possible, you must always consider that when a fighter is in his 40s. You know, Zhilei Zhang's in his 40s, so we must consider the slim chance of a Joseph Parker stoppage, and we must also look at the more probable outcome of Joseph Parker on points, and we can balance that out by simply placing Joseph Parker to win the fight. So if he wins the fight on points, then we're good, and if he wins by knockout, then we're good. But just remember, when you're doing Zhilei Zhang by knockout, hedging the play with Joseph Parker to win the fight outright, we also need to consider the fact that if Zhilei Zhang wins on points, then we lose all our money, and that is the risk that we're taking here. Okay, what do you think about what I spoke about in this video? Let me know. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, hit the notification bell so you get a notification when I make a new video, and I'll see you on the next video.